The long-awaited trailer for HBO Max's The Last of Us has finally arrived, and with it comes our first in-depth glimpse at not just Joel and Ellie, but of the world itself. The trailer isn't heavy in story details and is mostly accompanied by music with small excerpts from what to expect from the show. Luckily, the show seems to be taking heavy inspiration from its source material. So with that, we figured it's high time to break the trailer down and point out all its similarities. Here's every video game reference and Easter egg we spotted in The Last of Us premiere trailer.
The roses have faded, there's frost at my door.
First off is the song itself. The entire trailer is laid over top Hank Williams' Alone and Forsaken. The song is actually heard playing from the tape that Ellie swiped from Bill's as Joel and Ellie drive a truck through Pittsburgh before being ambushed by hunters.
Screw it.
Anyone who's even the tiniest bit familiar with The Last of Us will recognize the infamous Firefly symbol being painted over here. Seeing that the Fireflies are a revolutionary militia group, their words and symbols pop up quite a bit in The Last of Us. Just a few seconds later, we see the words "when you're lost in the darkness" sprawled on the wall. Taken from the full Firefly quote, "Remember, when you're lost in the darkness, look for the light. Believe in the Fireflies." Here we get an excellent shot of Joel's broken watch. If you played the first 20 minutes or so of the original game, you'll know it opens with Joel's daughter, Sarah Miller, gifting him the watch.
You kept complaining about your broken watch.
Of course, Sarah doesn't make it through Outbreak Day, and the watch is damaged because of this encounter. We get a quick glimpse of someone in a pair of Converse shoes chained up, which reminds us of a later section of the game where Ellie is being held captive by the cannibal David.
You are making it very difficult to keep you alive.
Here we see what appears to be a typical outpost checkpoint the characters from The Last of Us are often forced to go through to leave or enter the quarantine zones. Aside from the giant spotlight, you'll notice some barbed wire, as well as a giant welcome sign. Early on in the game, when Tess, Joel, and Ellie are escaping Boston, right after being detained by some guards, they escape and then use pipes and tunnels to get away from their pursuers. This scene seems to be a recreation of that. A tad bit later in the trailer, we seemingly get a glimpse of their escape. It's a fair bet that this is Bill, as you can see his beard here as he's watching CCTVs of what looks like the government either loading or unloading trucks full of people. Later in the trailer, we get a better look at Bill, who seems to come to Joel's rescue after springing one of Bill's many traps. The show gives us a full, incredibly somber look at post-apocalyptic downtown Boston, outside of the quarantine zone, a scene fans from the game will be incredibly familiar with. While we can't guarantee that this is a direct reference, the bright clothes and skulls seen here evoke the same feelings of hope and death that you find when you're traveling through the Pittsburgh sewers in the game. The show trailer finally gives us our first glimpse at a clicker, something Tess, Joel, and Ellie also encounter in the game. This is our first and only look at the leader of the Fireflies, Marlene. The way she is holding her stomach is likely due to a bullet wound, which is the main reason why she tasks Joel and Tess with looking after Ellie. Fun fact, Merle Dandridge is playing Marlene in the show. She's also the same person who played her in the game. Here we see a young Ellie riding a merry-go-round with Riley, a character from The Last of Us's only DLC, Left Behind. It's unclear how in-depth the show will cover the events of Left Behind, or if we're just seeing a glimpse of their story being told through a flashback. Don't forget, The Last of Us actually begins on Outbreak Day, before the world as we knew it fell apart. We get to see a few scenes of that chaos going down, as well as Joel carrying Sarah through the mayhem. Here we get one of our only looks at Tess, Joel's smuggling partner. This scene may take place when the Fireflies attack the Boston quarantine zone checkpoint, as we see many soldiers, some of who get shot. This is Melanie Lynskey, who will be playing Kathleen, the leader of the hunters who ambushed Joel and Ellie in Pittsburgh. The run truck also makes an appearance. We get a few shots of the snow, which is a very familiar setting for the later parts of the game. This shot here is likely Joel and Tommy arriving at Tommy's dam. Although, in the game, Joel and Ellie meet up with Tommy during fall, before winter. The start of winter is after Joel is wounded in the game, so this could just be a lake rather than Jackson Dam. We also get a one-to-one recreation of the moment Joel and Ellie escape David's clutches. Although in the show, it takes place outside, where in the game, they're both still in the cabin.
It's me! It's me! It's me! Look!
hates me.
Nearing the end, we get one more terrifying look at the clickers we'll see in the show, looking as disgusting as always. And finally, the trailer caps off with two iconic scenes from the game. The first being when Joel and Ellie watch the sunrise over the Capitol building, followed by a quick shot of them riding a horse together as they approach the University of Eastern Colorado. So far, The Last of Us on HBO Max seems to be one of the most faithful adaptations of a video game story we've seen to date, filled to the brim with recreations and respect shown to the original source material. And with Neil Druckmann on board to help guide the show, is that really a surprise? But let us know what you think of the trailer, and be sure to shout out any theories you may have as well. And of course, for much more on The Last of Us, be sure to stick with IGN.